Carson's Corner is a black LGBTQ-owned small business. They sell merchandise and apparel on pop culture franchises such as Dragon Ball, King of the Hill, Sailor Moon, and of course and most importantly, Power Rangers. If you're interested in getting their amazing merch, be sure to check them out at carsoncorner.com. Link will be down below.
Yeah. Yeah, we got the new theme song. I did not learn yet. I'm very sorry for you guys. How's everyone doing? Welcome to the Rider Time podcast here on the Morphin Network. Yes, we moved to Wednesdays. Last week is because it was an emergency, but it seems like it's a better time for you guys anyway. So win-win, I suppose. So now we have Rider Time podcast on Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. right on the dot. Well, a little bit past the dot, but here we are. Anyways, how are you guys doing? How's your first half of the week? It's Hump Day, Wednesday. I know for some of you it's Thursday morning right now as well, but I hope you're having a happy late Wednesday, early Thursday, wherever you are watching. And yeah, how's your week so far? How did you enjoy this week's episode of Kamen Rider? Let us know in the comments. And of course, what season of Kamen Rider are we talking about? Oh yeah, it is the 5th season of the Reiwa era, Kamen Rider Gotchard, and more specifically, we are doing episode 2, Pursuit, Alchemy, Skebows. I'm sorry, I know it's supposed to be sort of like an English pronounced spelling for skateboard, but I'm sorry, but when I see it spelled that way, I'm thinking about Kagurage from King Oger, because he's like the Bowski. that BOW right there. It just it's so plosive, right in your face. It always gets to me. Anyways, let us know what you guys thought about this episode. I'm gonna be honest, I know I did not give too much of a favorable review in the previous episode because it was very mid. This episode, it's all right. It's a little bit better than the previous one. Not fantastic. I have to say, I really hope this isn't just Kamen Rider Geek spoiling me to the point that I cannot properly review Gotchard, but that's just the way it feels. It feels like a pretty standard second episode. Yeah, a lot of stuff happens here. A lot of stuff definitely happens here. And there's one scene that is just really interesting. So maybe we should just get right into it. And yeah, let's go over it. And of course, I'm TimeRider Zero, your host, and let's get right into it. Okay, so where we last left off, Otaro finally became Gotchard. He absorbed the Kamakiri Kemi into its card. I can't quite remember its actual name. Hold on, give me a second. Let's see. I'm gonna need to get some. Hold on. Let's see. Gotchard. There we go. Okay. Chemi cards. Because I remember it's like Camantis or something like that. But let's take a look. Yeah, Camantis. That's its name. Not gonna wear it out. Don't worry about it. I won't. Wow. And yeah, here we are. So now he's an alchemist. Well, not quite yet, but we go into the chemistry lab. I find it interesting how the first thing Minato does, instead of saying, "Hey, Hotaru, how'd you do that?" or "Great job, Hotaru," he's just like, "Did you fill out the desired profession section of your report? Because that's still due today." And of course, he decides to become an alchemist. But in order to become an alchemist, he must first pass the test. So we get to take a look at the laboratory where the home base of the main characters are going to be. And again, I feel like there's a lot of Forze vibes going on. Not just because you got a high school setting like before, but because of the fact that You got a hidden classroom somewhere inside the school with a scientific laboratory. I mean, this is more chemistry and not earth science, but still, it's very Forza-ish. But again, I feel like with Forza, we just get a better taste for the characters. Like, there's more diverse personalities. We get to meet more of them earlier on, even if they're not focused on, like, we get to see them peripherally. We get to know a little bit about Jake and Nozoma, like, earlier on in the first 2 episodes without having to really get to know them. So it's like we know that they're there. We know we got a better understanding, and it draws our curiosity to learning more about them. I feel like this series does not really do that as effectively as Forza did. Because all the way up to, like, towards near the end of this episode, we still only know Hotaro, Remy, Minato, and that one kid with the glasses, who's still, I don't think we've got his name yet. So, and we know very little about Rene's personality besides that she follows the rules, and only because she says that at the end of this episode. Minato, we know he's acting like he's like the Eraserhead of the series. But the thing is, I'm still suspicious about this guy. Not gonna lie. Very suspicious about this guy. And of course, like I mentioned in the previous episode, Remy did bring up, who is this alchemist that gave you the belt? And yeah, we know earlier on, yes, it is her dad. It is in fact her dad. But we find out something interesting. He's allegedly a traitor to the school because he stole the cards. I wonder, did he really steal the cards, or was he protecting them? I don't know. Like, maybe if we also don't know how long ago he disappeared. We don't know how long ago it was that he finally actually made the belt itself. So, it makes me wonder about like certain details, but we're gonna get into that as the series progresses. But of course, and we do get a flashback about a legendary alchemist who defeated a monster 100 years ago, which happens to have 3 eyes. And I'm thinking, Black Clover. Yeah, Black Clover, because it also has a famous alchemist, who fights a 3-eyed demon. Yeah. And of course, we are given the test that you have to pass in order to become an alchemist at our school. And it's actually quite an interesting test, but also one which doesn't really give much hope for being able to succeed in, because it's basically Minato goes into the law of conservation of mass, which I did in the previous episode that we reviewed. And for those of you who are not familiar, the law of conservation of mass dictates that matter cannot be created and matter cannot be destroyed. All matter the sum of all matter in the universe is the same no matter what. The matter can only change from one form to another. So, for example, like, let's take this humidifier, for example. Like, if you take the mass of all this water and you notice that the vapor comes out of it, it looks like that the water is disappearing. But if you manage to collect all of the vapor that comes out of, this diffuser, that vapor will have an equal amount of mass as the start of the liquid container originally had by the time it becomes empty. Because the number of mass that leaves the container is equal to the amount to the mass of the vapor that's in the room. At least that came from here, because there's also vapor everywhere else in the room. So yeah, just a basic summary of how conservation mass works. And yes, alchemy follows that same rule. Even in Full Metal Alchemist, they had the first law of equivalent exchange. Humankind cannot gain anything unless first giving something in return. To obtain something of equal value must be lost. But they don't account for entropy in a closed system. Anyways. But yeah, so alchemy. You use fusion and fission to turn one element into another by either tearing up neutrons into protons and electrons, or combining them into neutrons in order to increase or decrease their atomic number, which makes it a new element altogether. That is why people want to turn lead into gold. And of course, the beauty of the Philosopher's Stone is that it does not follow the law of conservation of mass, which means it can create or destroy matter with impunity, and as such can turn a little bit of lead into a lot of gold instead of 5 kilograms into 5 kilograms. Now, and again, I still stand by it. Sooner or later, they're going to bring up a Philosopher's Stone. They did it in Indiana Jones. They did it in Harry Potter. They did it Full Metal Alchemist. They did it in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, believe it or not. But anyways, so Rine, talking about her dad, prompts Hotaru to ask about his dad, who, much like Hohenheim in Full Metal Alchemist, has his face completely obfuscated. And that is interesting. So we find out that he originally wanted to start his own bento company, but then he went off on a journey, never came back. So who else do we know who went off on a journey out of nowhere? Something that also involved alchemy. Taka, tora, bata, tato, ba. Nah, no. His dad is not Eiji Hino because the time difference would just not work unless he got her pregnant like a year or two before Kamen Rider O's started. But still, both shows involve alchemy. Both shows involve a nomad. Suspicious. Very suspicious. And in case anyone forgot, yes, core metals from Kamen Rider O's were the results of alchemy. If you've ever seen wonderful The Shogun and the 21 core metals, yeah, there was an alchemist who created the core metals. And the greed and the yummies, and yeah, that basically means that yummies are basically homunculi. Yeah, so we get our obligatory titular Kemi of the day, which is Skebows, and yeah. It's really cute. It has a voice similar to Hopper One, and it does resemble Deno because it has a whole split peach thing. Which, by the way, speaking of peaches, Pokemon Teal mask came out today. So let me know how that came out if you already started playing, because I know that the Teal Mask DLC does involve the story of Momotaro, because you got Okidogi, Monkey Dory, and Pheasantipity. You know, because they're a monkey, a dog, and a pheasant, and just like how they have in. Just like how they had it in what's it called, Dawn Brothers, and how they had it in Yu Yu Hakusho. It's funny. I like Peach Boy. Some people need to be more grateful of peaches and avocados for that matter, and peanut butter. You know who you are. 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 Okay, so yeah, so it possesses a skateboard and then pulls a Kiba Ranger where it's just skateboarding all crazy and a kid wants to get on it. But then there happens to be a bank robbery not too far from there. And like the malice inside one of the bank robbers just happens to be drawn to a Skebows, so it ends up following the car. I'm like, yeesh. So we learned something new here. Chemis are drawn to malice. They approach the malice. So and because we do a skateboard riding by itself, a certain someone in the park gets excited because, hey, I think I found evidence of a real monster. I'm saying, like, this guy gives me Hazamata vibes, but without the creepy elements because this is a kids show, not a teens shonen manga. Hazamata is a very creepy character when you get down to it. He's like, he may not be creepy in the same way as Yoshikage Akira or Rohan Kishibe, where one likes to make people explode and the other likes to like lick the intestines of spiders. But Hazamata is a pretty creepy character, and this guy gives me Hazamata vibes in a very different way. I mean, not in the creepy way, but in every other way. Meanwhile, Hotaru wants to learn more about transmutation and make the so what the test was is Kamantis and Odaripa have different masses. One's heavier than the other, naturally. So his test is that he has to make them have an equal weight. So my question is, how are you going to do that? Someone who has no prior experience in alchemy, a person who did not get to learn transmutation of any kind, supposed to make things have a matching mass. Like, the only way I could think about it is if, like, you burn both cards into cinder and then you measure both cinders to have the same amount of mass. Obviously, they have different densities because of the same volume. So I guess Odaripa has to, lose, get some corner cuts right there. And it is also revealed that these rings that they are wearing allow them to transfer mass with impunity. And I'm like, ain't that something? The actual phrase I would use, it would not be YouTube appropriate, but ain't that something? Seems like a rigged game, if you ask me, because it's like you're asking someone to make a transmutation, to transfer mass from one object to another without knowing how to do any kind of transmutation, without having any prior experience in alchemy, with a person who doesn't even know what alchemy even is. But, we do get a cute scene where Rene does decrease the density of various objects in the park and makes them dance. And I'm like, that's cute, but it's not going to help him pass the test because he doesn't have a ring. He is not going to be able to, go, shh, fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. No. But we do get something very interesting, though. By the way, I'm just curious. When you saw the episode, how did you guys think he would pass the test? How did you guys think he's gonna make them measure, have the same weight? Like maybe you were thinking he might, trim one of the cards, or maybe he would add more cards to the other side to make it like, oh, these two cards have the same weight as this other card, or I don't know. Like, what do you guys think? Like, do you think he's gonna steal a ring and then make them? Let me know in the comments. Meanwhile, we got something we would not normally see in a children's show. Human on human unaliving in cold blood in broad daylight on a weekday. Oh my freaking God. Like, the dude just grabs him by the ankles and flips him over the edge. And we don't need to see the guy's body afterwards, so we can only assume that, he was murked. And he's like, now I get all the money to myself. And of course, that prompts a Skebows to take over his body. And yes, look, we got the cross arms. We got the cross arms again. I knew this was gonna be like a repeated design pattern, and I was right. It's a repeated design pattern. And yeah, he eats a bunch of money. He seems kind of familiar. Where have I seen this before? Where a monster consumes something that its possessor is obsessed with. I can only imagine that food must taste yummy for it. So moving right along, now that he has this monstrous form, he's able to go on a spree and steal from armed vehicles. And not gonna lie though, it is kind of fun watching, but still very by the books. Second episode. I don't hate it though, but we do get Rine and Hotaru confronted, and it's very interesting. They managed to sort of separate the Kemi from the possessor, but they weren't able to put it inside a card because very likely the malice was too strong. And we do find out that when a Kemi fuses with a malicious human, they are referred to as a amalgam. Get it? Amalgamation. No, it's just called amalgam, but you would use the article, so it's amalgam, so it's an amalgamation of humans and chemis combined with malice. It's whatever. I mean, I've heard worse names like Yummy or Gifford or I don't know. I think Megid was used way too many times, probably. I don't know. Orphanok was a cool name. Orphanok was a really cool name. Let's bring back the cool names. Heck, Jamoto was kind of a mid name, but, but Jamar God, that was a cool name. Just saying. So, Otaru transforms. We get to see Kamantis and Odoripa. Well, they don't combine, even though they seemingly have matching patterns on the back. But what they do end up doing is it allows them to make a tornado, which is kind of cool, but it didn't solve the problem. But in order to catch up with Skebows, he needs a new set of wheels. So Minato shows up and he's like, hey, let's ride. Yeah, we meet another Kemi called Gold Dash, which is a motorcycle. And here's something I find really interesting. In the previous episode, we briefly saw Gold Dash when all the Kemis were running rampant. And then near Gold Dash, we saw a mysterious person wearing a school uniform. Like a Alchemy school uniform, observing. And yet somehow, like the Kemis were seemingly all trapped in their 101 cards, all the way up to the midpoint of the first episode. And yet somehow already Minato has Odoripa and Gold Dash. How does he have two Kemis already sealed? This doesn't make sense to me, now does it? Unless something very suspicious is going on involving Minato. But we also know that Minato, Rine, and Hotaru aren't the only three members of the Alchemy class. So it could have been someone else, but the thing is, if other people could seal the Kemis into cards, why rely so heavily on Hotaru in the first place? I mean, aside from the fact that, he's in possession of a dangerous artifact that the Hades sisters, and yeah, also they're called the Hades sisters in this episode, but we all know that they're the three fates because those were, Atropos, Lachesis, and Clotho are the names of the three fates. But that's neither here nor there. But at least we now have a name for their group, the Hades sisters. Anyways, but again, aside from the fact that Hotaru has the driver, which the Hades sisters want, what purpose would Hotaru have in the Alchemy Club if other members of the Alchemy Club could seal away the chemis? I mean, it can only be assumed that the first person to seal away the chemis was a legendary alchemist who defeated a giant three-eyed demon and sealed it away in his grimoire, blah, blah, blah. Black Clover! Okay, I'm done. Okay, that's enough Black Clover jokes. But yeah, I find it very suspicious. Oh, and we do see one other person overlooking him as he drives off. Naturally, we do get some funny scenes involving the skateboard chase. Like he turns into, like they're about to get hit by a construction vehicle, so he turns into a grasshopper, causes the bike to leap up, and then he leaps up with it, uses his gun, and slingshots himself in order to use his rider kick. Not gonna lie though, it's growing on me a little bit, but still not quite as flashy as as they usually are. Also, the CGI on this thing is kind of interesting because take a look at the helmet for a second. Look at where those goggle holes are. Kind of fascinating. Yeah. Anyways, so he passes the test at the end of the episode, and we find out how. You'd think maybe he figured out how to perform transmutation. Maybe he tried to crop one of the cards so that they would have an equal amount of mass despite having different densities. Maybe I don't know, like maybe he attached something to one of the cards. Like, nope. He just begged them to lose weight and gain weight respectively. Yeah. Yeah, he begged he begged Odo Rippa to lose weight and Camantis to gain weight so that eventually they would have matching mass. I wish I was joking here. And here's the thing for me. It's not like, I know some of you might be thinking, is this a fat shaming sort of thing or like a body positivity thing? No, it's not. It has nothing to do with physiological politics. For me, the issue is just like what a cop-out this was. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a hilarious cop-out. But I'm also kind of disappointed because I was hoping that he would do something clever. But no, the chemis did all the work. Also, I'm surprised that they could actually do that, like gain and lose weight at will. Like was like one of them working out and the other one was like gorging on food. How would that happen? Like, I'm sincerely confused. I mean, like, look, I get it. Like, Ankh could just like swallow ice cream pops with like his hand because he is the hand, but these are cards. I mean, they're sentient cards, but still, it's like, also, you did it in a day. That's the crazier part for me. They did it in a day. Can you lose weight in a day? You can lose weight in a week and then gain a little bit of it back because water weight's a thing. But how can cards lose weight in a day? That's what freaks me out. Oh, and also, while he does get his ring and runs off home, we do meet two other students, and one of them is super quiet. So, Gordon, sorry. I think I had some hex magic in my throat. Yeah. This definitely does not resemble Black Clover in any way whatsoever. But we do find out that Rene is not super happy about him becoming an alchemist because he didn't use alchemy to pass the test, and she's a stickler for rules or something like that. But we do find out that Hotaru's goal is to be friends with all the chemis. Why does that feel familiar? Oh, yeah. Forcing. That was totally from forcing. He did the head thing. He wants to be best friends with everyone at school. That is totally a forcing thing. There's like no originality in these first 2 episodes. It is just Forcing 2.0 with a little bit of Revice and Wizard sprinkled in. But then you get this added element of O's introduced in here because it involves alchemy and a missing person. That's pretty much it. Anyways, but we do find out that this dude's like watching them, and he's got a giant sword with a wrench shape on it, which is totally not Valvared. This is definitely not Valvared. This is some dude who isn't Valvared, who happens to be watching, our 2 heroes like run off as teenagers normally do. Who is this guy? I don't know, but he's clearly not Valvared, just like how Usopp is definitely not Sniper King. And that's pretty much it for the episode. Let us know what you thought about it. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Score out of 10. What do you think is going to happen next? What kind of relationship will not Valvared have with the rest? Is Arine's dad really a traitor? Is Minato hiding anything? How will these other 2 students be involved? And will not Hazamada finally get evidence that monsters exist? Find out next time on Kamen Rider Gotchard. Okay. Okay, this episode was a little bit better. But I don't know. I'm just not vibing with the season as much as I want to. And keep in mind, I want to vibe with this season. I'm just not quite feeling it yet. I just can't put my finger on it. Again, villains, fantastic. I love the villains. It's something about the heroes specifically that rubs me the wrong way, and I can't quite put my finger on it. Let's see. I do like the cards. I do like that they have personalities. It does make me wonder like how far they're going to go with this, because we have 101 cards, which means we need to have 101 personalities. And yeah, I wonder how far they're going to go with the CGI budget on this one. I mean, I get it. Here's the thing. King Gotchard, they have a sound effects room. I know like their budget is good because it's actually a useful tool for if you want to use extensive amount of CGI in an all CGI environment. I mean, that's what they're doing with Mandalorian. The issue is here we don't have a fantasy world where we have to have CGI backgrounds. Here we have a regular Earth background with real locations. And we have all these CGI characters showing up everywhere. So it's like, how much can they do with the CGI budget for this one? It's like, I get it. Like, Dawn Brothers was extensive with CGI. 2 of their Rangers were CGI, and the giant robot fights were completely CGI. But the thing is, how long can they keep it up? Because I still remember in Kamen Rider O's back when Gatsukiriba only had enough CGI budget to be used twice. Well, to be more accurate, 2.61 times. But the thing is, you can't use something half a time. So they only used Gatsukiriba twice over the course of the TV show. And unfortunately for me, they were both like earlier in the season. The latter of the 2 is episode 16, which means we get an entire 32 episodes of no Gatsukiriba. And sometimes I wonder, what if instead of having a whole swarm of Gatsukiribas, what if we just got 7 suit actors and then just limit his insect cloning to just 7 bodies. Would that save money on CGI, and would it, make it easier to have more appearances? I mean, look, I don't know how much money it costs to make certain CGI models happen. I don't know the budget it takes to get to manufacture a new suit and pay a suit actor to wear it, and then go through the let's see, go through the entire process of like getting injured, going through choreography and stuff like that. So like, I am curious, like if anyone knows, write it down in the comments. Let me know like how much it would cost to do one scene with Gatsukiriba, like let's say episode 6 or episode 16, I don't care which of those 2 episodes, versus hiring 7 suit actors to just do a shoot with just 7 clones instead of a whole 100 of them. I'm curious. I'm curious what are the time expenditures. I'm a cinephile. I love movies, but I like learning all things about things, not just one particular aspect. So while I especially love choreography in cinema, I am also curious about budgets. How are budgets used for specific shots, for pyrotechnics, for CGI, for stunt work, medical bills for stunt actors? I'm I'm very meticulous in my curiosities, so I really want to know how this plays out. Yeah, I think I exhausted everything I have to say. I know I should say more about the actual episode itself, but I honestly don't have much to say about it, which is part of the problem I have with the season so far. Not much for me to say. Honestly, a lot of things I would want to say in this episode, I've already said in the previous episode. The only added question is Renee's dad really a traitor? Which I'm very suspicious that he's being framed. But let me know what you guys think. What do you think of this episode? What do you think about some of the stuff moving forward? Okay, so we got a decent amount of comments here. So, time to enroll in another school? Absolutely. Like, if a school involves alchemy or space travel, you might want to transfer schools because monsters will somehow be involved regardless. Her dad's a traitor. Minato was the one who falsely accused him. That's my suspicion. It could be false. Heck, maybe someone else framed him and Minato just believes that person's lie. Trying to give the guy the benefit of the doubt. But honestly, I'm going to have to agree with you on this one. Minato is just very suspicious. And I don't believe that Renee's father is a traitor. So putting those two things together, question it. I think another question is he working with the Hades sisters, or is he in a third faction? Let's see. So his dad built this diner, but leaves then to venture the world, just like Ash said. By the way, shout outs. They Netflix finally uploaded the English dubs of the final episodes of Pokemon, the Ash journeys, like to be a master, whatever it's called. I still can't believe that Team Rocket got into a fight and they allegedly left. There was like all this controversy. Oh my God, they permanently broke up with each other. I'm like, come on, guys. They've broken up over worse things than this. And they've got back together. Like they're going to be back in the next episode. And then they were. Let's see. So chemis possess objects but get triggered by a criminal with a strong mouse. Yep, that's pretty much how it works. That's not how alchemy works, but you're not to do what when there's people around you. Yeah. I mean, the way alchemy is supposed to work is, you just transfer mass from one object into a new form. It's basically Skips having to meet the conditions of having chemical reactions. Like, for example, like photosynthesis, you need sunlight to trigger the reaction because photosynthesis is 3 separate things going on, but they need to happen in an order. What's it called? Respiration, same thing. 3 separate things things occurring in chain one after the other. But the thing is, in order to do step 2, you need oxygen. Otherwise, you have to cycle through step 1 over and over again, but you have less yield and you create lactic acid or ethanol as a side effect, which is why whenever you're doing a 25-minute run, you get cramps like on your ribs. There's a reason why it happens, because like you don't have enough oxygen to produce ATP, because it is a condition. And you do need a yield amount of a certain chemical, whether it's oxygen gas, carbon dioxide, water, nitrogen gas, glucose, gunpowder, all kinds of things, iron oxide. Like everything has to be on the left or right side of a reaction for those reactions to occur, and you need a certain minimal amount of those things in order to make the reactions occur. Alchemy, honestly, is basically like allows you to just skip all the math, but still there's still rules and limits, which are conservation of mass, conservation of energy. They didn't talk about conservation of energy in the show, but I'm going to let you know, just like how mass is conserved, energy is also conserved. Look at me. I'm teaching you guys biology and chemistry right here. Aren't you glad you're getting this free chemistry lesson here on the Morphin Network? You should have pulled a blank card when it was separate. Yeah, you should have. You could have. You should have, but you didn't. I mean, also question, why didn't they do that in Blade while we're at it? Just like force that thing open and then just slam that card onto their belt. Okay, let's see. Cold-blooded human crime in broad daylight on a weekday. Shaking my head. Yeah. How does Minato have 2 chemis already? Suspect AF. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Caught off screen. Yeah, they could have been. But it's still suspicious how they were caught off screen. Psycho Orange says hello. Hello, Psycho Orange. How are you doing? Yeah, no rider form for Odori Mantis. I wish some combos have permanent rider forms than the wild forms. Yeah. I mean, look, I like the whole Arabian Mantis motif. I would have liked to see that. It really would be interesting if Kamen Rider Black was the other way around, an alternate dimension where Black Sun is the villain and Shadow Moon is the hero. I mean, they could have went that route because Shadow Moon tried to be a tribal leader. But, in the end, honestly, Kotaro and his brother, they were not the main characters. Ao was the main character. She was the main character. Not Black, not Shadow Moon. It was Ao. She was the main character of the entire series. He asked them to change their diet and hunger. Yeah, pretty much. I'm surprised that was the cop-out they went with, but he's right. Not how you do it, but he passed anyway, so he gets B+ on the test. Yeah. I mean, look, I remember one time I had a chemistry test, and I had to figure out the density of a gas. And I forgot what the density gas law was, but I did find a way around it by using the perfect gas law, which is PV equals nRT, because we know that density of a gas is the density of any chemical is constant. So if we have a fixed mass, we could use PV equals nRT to find the volume. And if the mass we use equals 1 mole of that gas, that means that we only need pressure and temperature to figure out the volume. And then once we figure out the volume, using that same mass from our hypothetical equation, We just take the mass and the volume, divide, and we get the density. That's how I figured it out. I know there's an actual formula for it, but I forgot what it was. But hey, found my way around it. That's what mattered. Got an 8, even though I didn't deserve it. I want Fat Comantus and Skinny Odoripa for the memorial cards next year. Yeah, that would be funny. We got 2 new characters, but one can't talk properly, so we made an AI in his tablet to do the normal talks for. And it is more, shall we say, Gust-ish than the actual person, but still, Gordon. Next episode of our debuts and Opera Skebows form. Yep, can't wait for that. Let's see. I watched the stream of Teal Mask, and one quest is so frustrating that others make them go nuts. Well, don't spoil what happens. Just letting you know. I'm just excited that it's happening. Let's see. Hopper 1 is officially a kaijin detector. Yeah, pretty much. Also, defeating the Amalgam, the criminal, is fun. Oh yeah, Gotchard mastered Spinjutsu. Okay. You win this round, Chest of Greatness. Let's see. Let's look at some of the Facebook comments. L'Oreal says hi. I'm starting to like Hotaru. Good. I'm glad you're enjoying him. It was awesome how he's able to talk to the Kemis. Yeah, I'd like to be able to talk to my cards like Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl and Maju Garzette and Pikachu and Bulbasaur, Axebane Stag and Embor. And Perfectly Ultimate Great Moth. I mean, that would give me 5 points on Shogi, right? Yeah, I'm just mixing a bunch of board games now. It's don't worry about it. It was funnier in a YouTube comment once. Okay. Also, the opening shows Rene showing more emotions. Yes, finally, thank you. If only she could do that in real life. In a way, Hotaru kind of reminds me of Toma and Juru. I'm gonna skip that comment. Alchemy and trading cards, definitely a 2-for-1 deal if I ever seen one. Yeah, I mean, it kind of did that with Kamen Rider Decade, except the trading cards were for an arcade machine. Still, didn't stop me from trying to make a card game for people to play, but it's kind of less fun when I'm the only person who actually has the cards. Gotchard is so cool. It's cool to say. Well, they're both blue at one point or another. Is there chemis that can talk like a human? I don't know. Let's find out. Let's see. What's your comment on the next Sentai that has... Oh, you mean the Boom Boomger? I don't know. All I can say is if they're really going to go with the whole explosive thing, I really hope Dynaman makes a cameo. I'm going to need to see scans. Like, I get it. I get the motif they're going with. But so it's not enough. Look at Avatar Sentai Dawn Brothers. Like, what were you thinking when you heard that phrase? You're thinking something Mario related more than likely. Dawn Brothers. It's like Mario Brothers, but mafia related. Also, there's the word avatar involved, so maybe they're like virtual reality. Well, there actually is some augmentation of reality involved in that, so that worked. But also, what did you think about Osama Sentai King Oja when you first heard the name? I was thinking a lot of gold, like lots and lots of gold. Like my eyes are gonna hurt just see. My eyes were hurting just seeing the name on the patent document because like I was immediately associated like, oh, Sama King. Oh, that's 4 words right there. Made my eyes hurt because all I could see is just blistering gold light. And I'm like, nope. I am glad that they're insect themed though. Like, if they were not insect theme, I probably would not be as interested in King Oger as I am now. And am I interested in King Oger? That's all I'm going to say in the matter. Let's see. I do miss the old days of Morphin Network when everyone was here all together. Yeah. But everyone's busy. Leo's still here, just doing behind the scenes stuff. I do have Jared and Mike here every now and then. They're just both busy tonight. But But don't worry. Don't worry. Cosmic Fury is around the corner, and so is Go-Go Loser Rangers. We are going to review both of those shows, so don't worry about it. Let's see. ETBL says, hi, how is everyone? Everything's great. How are you doing? Is this life right now? Well, let me think. Yeah, this is life right now. Yeah, this is life right now. And life is worth living. But that's it for the comments. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching. This is Mike from the Morphin Network. And just letting you know, if you enjoyed watching this episode, be sure to comment, like, and subscribe to us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Ding the bell icon to stay notified for our latest videos. We are doing Osama Sentai King Oger episode 28 tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Pacific and 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So be sure to stick around tomorrow to check that out. And yes, Rider Time Podcast has been moved to Wednesdays. So you're going to get the two shows on back-to-back days from now on. We are planning on doing Ultraman Blazar very soon. And we're going to get back to doing Amazons and Power Rangers. So stick around for that. Also, be sure to check out our sister channel, The Buttery Show, where we do movie reviews, interviews, and video game news. We recently did a discussion on the Netflix One Piece series, so be sure to check that out. And I think we're going to have some more video game news coming soon, so stick around for that. And, of course, if you want to check out my personal content, you could find me on Instagram at Boken_Kabuto and on Twitch at twitch.tv/BokenKabuto. And with all that said, guys, thank you so much for watching. I can't wait to see you guys again tomorrow as of the time of this recording. And we will see you guys real soon. Stay safe, stay hydrated, update your emergency kits, hug your loved ones, and happy last week of summer, because next week will be the autumn equinox. Hooray! Bye, guys. Peace.